A warm welcome to all of you to the second session for today. Reminder again to please put your phones on silent mode for the meeting. Now, as we know, the bank audit season is here, and to dwell upon the difficulties, the important changes, all the complexities in the bank branch audit, we have with us CA Sanjay Khemani ji. Before, without taking much time, to introduce our today's speaker, I would like to invite CA Chintan Shah ji, who's a past convener.
Thank you, convener, for this opportunity, and welcome all the members after the first session. It's a pleasure task of introducing the renowned speaker, CA Sanjay ji Khemani. He is a senior partner in NMSM Company LLP. He is heading the BFSI practice of the firm for more than 23 years and has been involved in providing assurance, taxation, risk consultancy, management consultancy services to the various private as well as public sector banks. He also has rich experience in conducting forensic audits as well as special monitoring cases on behalf of the lenders. His academic excellence is also beyond anyone's imagination. He was the first in the Western India in CA intermediate examinations, as well as All India ranked first in CA final and awarded gold medal and adjudged the best student of the year. He's also qualified company secretary, completed his visa from ICI and also a certificate course from ICI on forensic audit and fraud prevention, on Ind AS and on valuation. He is also IBBI registered valuer for securities and financial asset class. He serves as an independent director on the board of Yes Bank as well as LIC Housing Finance. He's also addressed various seminars at the institute as well as at our study circle. So thus, Sanjay ji, we welcome you at JB Nagar for our session. Thank you. I request Khemani Bagaria to please honor us and give this memento to Sanjay ji.
Presentation.
Members, please come ahead.
Yes. Sir, एक बार PPT change करके देख लीजिए हो रहा है.
I think 167 somebody is local. Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm really delighted to be amongst one of the finest, the largest study circle of the institute. Yes. I'm also thankful to the Definition Study Circle for remembering me and inviting me every year for the line grant study. before I start, maybe few caveats. I'm not talking about these papers. These are separate statements. So I presume that this session is mainly for the bank branch only for the PSU loans. And unfortunately for me, for reasons which we will discuss maybe during the course of the various slides, I have stopped doing PSU bank branch only since 2016. So I do have a past experience and I do have an experience as a central auditor of maybe some of the well-known private sector bank. Recent experience of the PSU bank branch audit may be lacking. So you must take that with a pinch of salt. Having said that, I will try my level best to take you through the presentation. Now, looking at the profile of the audience, I presume all of you have been doing bank audit in the past. Almost everyone? Yes. Okay. So this presentation, when I had prepared it, this presentation was prepared mainly keeping in mind that somebody is supposed to be starting the bank branch audit afresh. Since bank branch audit is something which is being done by the members regularly here. So maybe I can focus on few of the important issues which we do come across and which have been maybe the flavor of the very recent past. Now, this is something I think is known to all of us, why public sector banks, so that bank branch audit is important. All of us must have been experiencing that the number of branches which used to get allotted to us in the past from 3 has gone down to 2. How long these 2 branches are also going to be continuing, I really do not know. As a central auditor, if you ask me, does it make sense for PSU bank to have the branch audit? The answer is yes and no. And when I say no here, is mainly because of when we talk about here the decentralized operations, why we politically call these as decentralized operations. In fact, most of the operations in most of the public sector banks have also got centralized. So when we walk into the branch, we want to see, let us say, the basic document, which is the KYC document. Do we get that at the branch? Most of the cases, we may not be able to get those documents at the branch. Because account opening is something which in most of the large banks has got centralized in their central processing units. Account is there in the branch, but the documents are somewhere else. And we as the branch auditor are supposed to be commenting on the compliance with the KYC guidelines. The focus in the past of the auditors has been particularly for the PSU bank branch audit, because we have been focusing only on one area, which is what? Advances. There is a 360-degree turn. Does it make sense for us to be doing the advances audit now? It doesn't make sense. Why it will not make sense now? For 2 reasons. The first reason is the RBI has come out with a circular where they are asking that all the income recognition, asset classification has to be done through the system. Any major adjustment, either upgrading an account as NPA or downgrading upgrading an account from NPA to a standard category and vice versa, has to be reported to the auditor. Now, that's the responsibility which has been cast upon the central auditors to not only ensure but also to certify that the system is in place to automatically identify those every account as NPA, and whatever manual exception which has been done either at the head office or at the branch is something which is reported to the auditor. So the focus which we used to be spending a lot of time on advances, particularly on income on the asset classification. Income recognition has not been much of the issue because once the asset gets classified as the NPA, the income would automatically get reversed. So that has not been much of the challenge. We have been facing huge amount of challenge in asset classification. By and large, that is something which has been taken care by the system. We will not have a situation where basis the parameters which has been given by the RBI, an account which should have been classified as NPA has not got classified as NPA in the branch level. Does it mean that we should simply stop doing advances audit? The answer is no. We obviously, when we are taking the responsibility, we are not only supposed to be conducting an audit, we are also supposed to seem to have been doing that work. Now, the focus should be what in the advances when we are looking at it. Whether the data entry which has been made, so the system will classify an account as an NPA based on the data which has got entered into the system. If, for example, my repayment schedule for a, let us say, housing loan has been fed into the system where the repayment schedule does not correspond with the repayment schedule agreed with the borrower in the sanction letter of the loan document. So computer as we all know is garbage in, garbage out. Because your repayment schedule is not correct, obviously the system will not classify those accounts as NPA. So the focus from let us say identification of an account as an NPA, if you are looking at the advances part, has to get shifted to integrity of the data basis which the system is being. Having said that, do we assume that the system is behaving in the manner in which it is behaving? While that is something which is the primary responsibility of the central statutory auditor, we as a branch auditor also have our own responsibility, because when we are looking at the branch audit, we do what? We do the transaction. So if you look at expectation from the regulator, and if you look at the payment to the LAPR of the branch audit, what is the regulator saying? We are supposed to be providing comfort to the central statutory auditor that all those systems and processes which are there, which are in place and have been operated. So while at an application testing level, it is the responsibility of the central statutory auditor to ensure that the IT application for income recognition and asset classification has been properly configured. At branch, it becomes our added responsibility to test that. Now, testing of those accounts, individual accounts, are something which is very, very important, which we have been doing it all of them. Coming back to my original statement that whether we should be doing the branch audit or with the branch audit will continue or not continue. Because of most of the processes that the banks have got centralized, some of the private sector banks which used to get the branch audit done have discontinued. One or two who are still continuing are also thinking whether they should continue with the branch audit or not. My actually, and I'm not trying to demean, I'm also part of you. I also have been doing branch audit independently. The focus with the branch auditor has and the time which is allocated. So during the tea break, I was discussing with the Vikramji about the responsibility which has been casted on us and whether we are able to discharge our responsibility. And he gave an example of credit rating agency, why we cannot do what credit rating agency post maybe your divan housing and yes and all that. I said the difference between it, so one of the reason is your community is supposed to be the primary people who need to be there, because you are expecting everybody to come out with a financial result in 15 days, 20 days, but late हो गया तो कम result क्यों नहीं आया? Now when we are looking at the branch is a unit in isolation. Do we have access to the document which we are required to maintain, or we are supposed to be verifying based on the standard of audit? All of us know that NAFRA is something which is sitting on our head now. By default, branch audit is also getting covered under the. While we might be doing a lot of other entities which may be much larger than the branch audit in terms of size and in terms of maybe the remuneration. Those entity cannot get covered under the NAFRA, this entity will get covered under the NAFRA. Does it mean that we only maintain document when the NAFRA is involved? The answer is clearly no. We do maintain. But the standard which is expected out of the NAFRA is more of a theoretical rather than the practical approach, which considering the time which is available to us as a grant auditor, are we in a position to maintain those kind of documents? That is something which is really difficult. At the same time, do we have an option of not maintaining? Can we take a plea that no, मुझे तो 10 दिन में report देना था, देखो सर्कुलर में लिखा है supposed to be signing the report by 10th of April. मैं इतना ही कर सकता था. Do you think NAFRA will bite this? NAFRA is not going to bite that, right? They will simply say, Vikram told me that no, we like they went to RBI, they should they said to RBI and the SEBI, you tell me what you want us to do. I said for us, what we are supposed to be doing very well, particularly standard of auditing. It is not that we do not know what is to be done. Do you provide a sufficient time to do what is expected of us? Unfortunately, what happens is the audit appointment, I'm sure most of you must have received the email communication about the appointment. But by the time you complete your appointment formalities, maybe I go to the next where we are talking about appointment formalities. So by the time you are through with the appointment formalities, because you need to have communication with the previous auditor. Now, some of the NAFRA report, particularly in one of the NBFCs where a lot of people have acted as a branch auditor and the NAFRA has taken some very stringent action against some of the partners. Basic things were lacking. Communication with the previous auditor. ब्रांच का अपॉइंटमेंट होते ही नेक्स्ट आपके पास में ब्रांच मैनेजर सीट पे आके बैठ जाता, सर मेरा ऑडिट शुरू करो, मुझे ये तारीख पे रिपोर्ट देना, मुझे हेड ऑफिस को रिपोर्ट देना, whether the audit has been started or not. This is what we face all of us. Now, how do you expect that, okay, I should be able to communicate with the previous auditor and get his no objection in a time, right? While the institute has facilitated that, okay, you can make an email communication to the previous auditor. Most of the time, when the appointment letter is received, you don't have the previous auditor's email only. Now you go back to the branch of the appointing authority, which is not the branch. You go this and you go, मुझे नहीं पता है, I have to talk to the head office. Or let us say, auditing statement, he will say, I go to the LHO. So the process of basically in your capacity to start the audit itself is takes so much of a time, and the biggest headache is going to the engagement letter. Within this audience, how many of us are ensuring that okay, the branch management signed the engagement letter? Only one hand. Two. Now, this is the basic document. If you do not have an engagement letter, and it is not that we don't want. It is the branch management will simply refuse to sign. But that is a starting point for a branch audit. I cannot start a branch audit unless I have the engagement letter listing out my roles and responsibilities and roles and responsibility of the branch management. The format, all those things are already given in the guidance note. By the way, if we have read the guidance note, I don't think we require any of the seminars. It is very comprehensively covered in the guidance note what we are supposed to be doing. In fact, it is one of the, I also have been part of the guidance note committee. Literally, इसमें भी किया जा रहा है. The problem with us is that we do not have sufficient time to go through, and the branch management or the bank's management does not give us the sufficient time to complete what is expected of us. Given that is an end, does it mean that we should risk our membership number because branch management doesn't want us to be? Should we do that? So I think we as a professional have to learn say no to the branch management. I understand it is extremely difficult कि मैं जिस पहले तो जो ऑडिट लेने के लिए आजकल मुझे इतने पापड़ बेलने पड़ रहे हैं, ठीक है, आने के बाद में मैं उसको बोलूँ जब तक एंगेजमेंट लेटर साइन नहीं करोगे मैं चालू नहीं करूँगा. But at the same time, for one assignment, you can't risk your, let us say, 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your professional life on the jeopardy. And the reason why I told this is because I find that no branch manager will sign the engagement letter. For signing the engagement letter, you have to go right up to the head office. So you are not able to start with 31st. Now, if you don't start on 31st, how do you verify the cash on hand? How do you verify security documents in hand? How do you verify the bills on hand or the LC which has been issued? So there are so many transactions which are required to perform the cut-off procedure, which they are unable to perform if the appointment is not done in time. Another complexity when we talk about the branch auditor is, we know our clients well, right? We know our clients well, isn't it? We don't take anybody, रात संडे को हम client नहीं बनाते. We do KYC of all our client. The institute requires us to do the KYC of all our client. How do you do KYC of a bank branch? Our institute's mandate requires us to complete the KYC. Now, you will be able to do it based on the publicly available information. You go and ask them because मेरे को तुम्हारे directors का PAN card दे दो. This is expected out of us. कोई देने वाला है क्या? किसी ने लिया है आज तक? कोई नहीं देने वाला. ठीक है? So the amount of time which we are supposed to be, in fact, I also have been as a central auditor, have been highlighting these issues to the bank's management. That when you want bank audit to be done, you have to enable. Finally, you are paying the fee, right? It should give you some result. What is the point of doing something when it is not going to give you the result? Because you are not enabling the professionals to perform the role which is expected out of the professional. Now, when we are talking about this, that okay, I am not able to complete the KYC. हमें client का ABC भी पता नहीं. अभी हमें जाना है branch audit करना है. आपको एक comfort ये भी नहीं है कि branch manager जो है कितना सच्चा बोल रहा है झूठा बोल रहा है. How much I should rely on you? हम हमारे किसी क्लाइंट के पास में जाते हैं तो हमको पता है ना कि अच्छा ये जो बोल रहा है कितना फेस वैल्यू के लेना है, कितना पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट के साथ में लेना है. We do that, right? Can we perform that analysis of a branch? So one of the prerequisites in the audit planning has been knowing the client and client's business. In the given time frame, how do we do that? While we know कि चलो वो branch का balance sheet देख के मालूम चलेगा इतना advance है इतना deposit है, ठीक है? We will not be knowing finally a bank may be one of the best banks, but every bank will have a branches which are rated in C category, D category also, right? Good for me, you have been allotted a branch which is, let us say, internally rated in category C or the category B. How do you assess the fraud risk? Because that is again one of the prerequisites before we start the audit. Okay, I must assess the fraud risk which is there in the branch. Now, when the internal team which has rated the branch, let us say COD, that means the fraud risk is very high in the branch. Now, having identified the fraud risk which is very high in the branch, how do you perform additional procedure? So my point is not to scare you about how the branch audit, I mean whether we should be doing the branch audit or not. The point I am trying to say, the complexity, the challenges, what we have, the importance, what we have been giving historically, including me. I am not saying I give too much of an importance to the branch audit, क्योंकि हमारे दिमाग में branch audit से क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है यार? क्योंकि कोई भी छोटे से छोटी भी बैंक अगर आप कर रहे होंगे, मुझे नहीं मालूम 50 बैंक होगा शायद, और अपने सोलर से, ये also 2000 ब्रांच है. तो मैं 2 ब्रांच करता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है 2 ब्रांच से कुछ फर्क तो पड़ना नहीं है, मुझे this is below the metal threshold कर देता हूँ. But when you look at the now NFI started inspection, institute has also started looking at the quality review of the bank branch audit also. So the kind of challenges which we are facing has multiplied. So the point I am trying to say is that we have to give lot of emphasis in the bank branch audit, we cannot have the business as usual approach. We have to make sure that we maintain our documentation in the manner in which it is required to be maintained. And we need to persist with the branch management and should not come under any pressure कि वो उससे कागज को नहीं मिले जो कागज मिलना है तो what does the letter say, the engagement letter sign नहीं करता है, what does the standard of auditing says? Anyone on this? Sir? We are supposed to be resigning. Right?
When you are saying the time limit, right? So there is a never it was mentioned anywhere that जो बोला हुआ time limit. So when I do the appropriate letter, I mention that I am not going to complete within the time limit. If you want to be complete me in the time limit, I want full completion.
Which is what is required, that's what I am saying.
That is don't accept, then I will.
In fact, there is an RBI circular about 5-6 years back, where they have said very clearly that the branch auditors need to be given sufficient time. They have said, I have brought one closing circular of one of the bank. I will read out what is the time limit which has been given. Timeline for closure of the branch audit. Branch units which are not subject to audit, who is supposed to be signing branch manager, unit head, 10th of April. Branch unit subject to audit, branch manager, unit head and statutory auditor, 15th of April. And this is a well managed bank is giving 15 days. The branch which I used to do, they will say 7 तारीख तो चाहिए हमें. Now within 15 days, if you do have a heavy branch and if you have a branch which is category C or category B, the amount of risk which we are taking and the time which is there, I think we as a professional need to put our foot down and say what can be done, what cannot be done. While I understand that getting a branch audit is not something which is easy nowadays, and it can jeopardize the probability of getting the assignment next time. But I think if all of us collectively start doing that, right? मैं नहीं करूँगा, आप करोगे तो काम नहीं चलने वाला. All of us as collectively say what is required as per the standard is required to be followed. I will not jeopardize my own professional ethics, my own professional code of conduct, my standard of auditing, because you are in a hurry. What is required to be done is required to be done. So that's an approach and complexity which I was talking about, which we don't face in the case of any private sector client. So that is something which we need to be. Closing instruction is something which I think is something which should we should be lot of importance. In fact, while coming here, I was just reading this. I can't name the bank which is there, but this closing instruction is an Gita for us. If we read these closing instructions thoroughly, what I am going to say in the rest of the slide is all covered here. Unfortunately, we don't get time to read the closing instructions. But at the same time, to read these closing instructions, there are 60 returns which are supposed to be audited. How it is humanly possible to complete this 60 returns, let us say, if you are given 2 branches in 10 days time. But knowingly or unknowingly, we are walking into that trap, and I will help each one of you sitting here that we need to make sure that we follow what is required to be done by our ICI so that we remain relevant with the next allotment of the branch audit. I think planning formalities I have already may not be discussed in such a great detail. So few things which is important, I think business environment and bank's business we have discussed. Materiality. This one is I think we need to be very careful on this. Because the branch management आपको क्या बोलेगा? अरे सर मेरा 5 लाख करोड़ का बैलेंस शीट है उसमें कहाँ पे आप 2 लाख रुपए बोल रहे हो? हाँ Now, are we supposed to be looking at materiality from the branch perspective, or are we supposed to be looking at the materiality from the bank's perspective? Anyone? Branch perspective, right? So I have to determine materiality threshold for myself. The central auditor may also give the materiality threshold, and this is the materiality threshold which you should apply, let us say, when you are suggesting certain acquisitions. So if central auditor has given the materiality threshold, obviously we are supposed to be following that. In the absence of the central auditor's materiality threshold, and I'm sorry, it is not in the absence. So let us say your materiality threshold for a branch comes to 10 lakhs. And central auditor has given you a materiality threshold which is, let us say, 1 crore. Which one we are supposed to be following? 10 lakhs is the materiality threshold we are supposed to be following, so that is something which I have worked out. But let us say I have worked out the materiality threshold as 1.5 crore. And central auditor has given me the materiality threshold which is 1 crore. Which one I am supposed to be following? I am supposed to be following 1 crore. So determination of the materiality threshold is something which is very, very important. Now, anybody said something? So then based on the materiality threshold, we need to decide what area to scoping, what area to be scoped out. Generally, the tendency what we have in the branch audit, हम पूरी branch का सब कुछ देख लेते हैं. हमें सब कुछ देखेंगे तो क्या होगा, जैक को फोर मास्टर ऑफ नन वाला कंसेप्ट हो जाएगा. So basis, because we have determined the materiality threshold, we should also determine which are the, let us say, the accounts or areas which I can skip, right? So the areas on which you are supposed to be reporting either under the your true and fair view, or on your LFR, or in your FOFR, can we exclude that? We cannot exclude that. But certain accounts, let us say, when we are looking at advances and your materiality threshold is 10 lakhs, can we exclude all the advances which is less than 10 lakhs? Certainly we can do that. Unfortunately, nowadays, so earlier, some of us were taking a stand, कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ तो बोला यार मेरा तो materiality के नीचे था, मेरा selection नहीं है. That stand we used to take. अभी वो stand चलेगा नहीं. Because in LFR, RBI is asking you to specify which are the accounts which you are selected for verification. So obviously, all those accounts has to meet your materiality threshold. So that is something which are supposed to be looked at when we are looking at the LFR. Preliminary analytical review, when I talk about what kind of review we can do at the branch. So preliminary analytical review is basically last year's data we take. We take current year's data, try to see अगर वो मेरा एडवांस से 20% बढ़ा है, तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट इनकम कितना बढ़ा. डिपॉजिट मेरा 15% ग्रो हुआ है, तो इंटरेस्ट एक्सपेंसेस कितना बढ़ा. So those kind of basic analytical review we are supposed to be carrying out as far as standalone auditing, which will help us in planning the audit. For this, I think we have discussed, and all these things are, I think, something which is in evaluation of IT environment, I think maybe I spend some time on that. Now, एक तो भी अपना IT environment में audit trail का आ गया, जो fortunately is not applicable to the PSU banks because they are not incorporated as a company, so we are not supposed to be reporting that. But does it mean that we are not supposed to be checking that? While we may not report that, we are still supposed to be checking the audit trail, right? So IT environment plays very, very vital role in branch audit and more so in the PSU branch audit. While CDS is something which is centralized, many of the applications would be centralized applications where not only your IT application control, IT general control will also be performed by the central auditor centrally. There may be certain applications which are there at the branch specific. Could be, let us say, your return preparation application which is there. Now we need to be carrying out the IT general control on that in terms of basis or guidance for which has been given. Now, many of us will find it difficult. वो पूछेंगे IT तो हमारा सब कुछ सेंट्रलाइज है, पहला आंसर ये आने वाला आपको। हमें कुछ नहीं पता सर, ये तो हमारा वो IT सेंटर से हो जाता। So what we need to ascertain which are the processing or the applications which are controlled from the IT center, which are the ones which are controlled from you. So to give a very simple example, so let us say we are taking verification of what do I say, fixed deposit, interest on the fixed deposit. Now generally, not generally, regulation wise, you cannot have differential rate of interest. जो उनको रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है जो अमाउंट के लिए जो टेनर के लिए वो ही इनको भी मिलना है, ठीक है। What we are supposed to be checking, okay, can I edit that field or not? सिस्टम ने तो दिया है कि चलो इन्होंने जो है 3 साल का डिपॉजिट दिया, 1 करोड़ का डिपॉजिट दिया, तो इनको 60% ब्याज मिलना चाहिए, ठीक है। ये एडिट कर सकता है क्या? Most of the time you will find that these functionality may not be there, but I know there have been instances where while we know that perception है नहीं कर सकता, but that is something which needs to be tested by this, because at least I have come across instances where the people had right to modify that. Now, those kind of controls we are supposed to be seeing that, okay, whether in terms of an IT environment, which are the decentralized controls which are operating at the branch, and what kind of controls is the branch has exercised. Maintenance of record of those controls is again going to be a big challenge for us. Why? आप जाओगे ज्यादा तो ब्रांच मैनेजर आपको क्या बोलता है, सर मैं तो अभी 1 महीने पहले आया, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं पता। यही होता है, मैं तो सर मुझे पता नहीं है, वो IT तो वहां से होता है, मुझे पता नहीं मेरा प्रेडिसेसर क्या करके गया है। Every sort of excuse we will keep getting in the branch, which you are not accustomed to hear anywhere else. So the IT environment, we need to make the right assessment of this, that what is that something which we are supposed to check. From the NAFRA standpoint, NAFRA has been putting a lot of emphasis on this IT environment, because finally, as I mentioned, we all know garbage is garbage. If the IT control is not robust enough, then your report on the IFC, not IFC, FOFA. If FOFA, we need to evaluate whether we are able to give the report on the FOFA, whether we can use a clean report or not. My experience, barring maybe 1 or 2 banks, most of the PSU banks have not given any importance to the FOFA. In fact, in my interaction with some of the central officers, basic things which are lacking in risk metrics नहीं, risk का मेरे पास में फ्लोचार्ट नहीं, control metrics नहीं है, I don't have documents for the level 1 testing, nobody does level 2 testing, level 3 testing nobody does, they simply rely on the branch auditor to be performing that testing. Now, branch auditor's role is to rely on the testing which has been done by level 1, 2 and 3. Most of the branches, my experience has been that these kind of testing of the FOFA is not being done, barring maybe 1 or 2 banks. More including large banks also. They just don't do FOFA testing, whether it is a level 1, level 2, level 3. But all of us have been issuing claim report. क्यों हुआ था रिपोर्ट के टाइम पे हमारे पास में टाइम नहीं होते, हमने तो सारा टाइम तो ऑडिट करने में लगा दिया। रिपोर्ट तो जो फॉर्मेट लेके आता है बोला सर साइन कर दो, तो आपके पास में ऑप्शन है वो डिजिटल सिग्नेचर लगाता साइन हो जाता एडिट करने का ऑप्शन होता है, वो बता रहा हूं, उसमें कुछ एडिट करने का ऑप्शन नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, एमओसी है नहीं है, एमओसी में तो फिगर सही है, इसमें कोई एमओसी है नहीं। We end up issuing the report on the FOFA which is totally clean, knowing fully well that the control bank के पास risk control metrics नहीं है, and we are saying the controls are getting cooperating effectively. I think all of us need to rise to the occasion because banking is बहुत easy है ना sir. रिस्क को थोड़ी ले रहा है, रिस्क को उसने आप पे ट्रांसफर कर दिए. आप जाते हो तो क्या बोलता है सर हमारा तो सब कुछ ऑडिटेड है. पहले तो आपको कुछ देखने की जरूरत नहीं सर, ये देखो मेरा फरवरी तक का तो कंट्रोल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट एकदम क्लीन है.
सिस्टम ड्रिवन.
हाँ एवरीथिंग इज सिस्टम ड्रिवन. ये फरवरी का रिपोर्ट में एकदम क्लीन है सर. अभी ब्रांच कंट्रोल ऑडिट करते हैं, हमें मालूम है कि आपको कंट्रोल ऑडिट में लिखने क्या देते हैं. आपके पास में इश्यू तो लिखने नहीं देता है, बराबर. So the point I am saying is that they will always try to, generally we don't find, they will try to take you to a garden path, okay, and try to see कि वो शेयर जो है जल्दी से साइन करके जाए मेरे पे, क्योंकि you have a relationship which is a transactional relationship. We do not have any other client which is a transactional relationship. We have clients which has a long-term relationship we have. Here we have relationship which lasts only for a week, 10 days, 15 days. How much we can rely in such a case? And that is the reason I'm not saying you should not do it the branch audit. All that I'm saying is why I had an option, so to give up that branch audit, I suppose मैं करूँगा नहीं, उस दिन नहीं तो आराम से जाके सो जाएगा. लेकिन ये the amount of risk which we are taking is too much. The limited point I am trying to drive home is that we need to pay lot of emphasis in making sure that our audit file is organized in the manner in which standard of auditing is requiring us to do so, and NAFRA's expectation is much beyond that. Many a times we say in our report we give an opinion, right? But expectation of the NAFRA is you cannot accept professional judgment. ये इसमें लिखा हो करना ही है. नहीं करना है तो आप पहले आपको लिखना चाहिए था, okay, because of these reasons this is not required to be done. Now that kind of documentation, see, Big Four is something which has been mastered the art of documentation. All of us agree. That is one of the weakest area which all our Desi firms has. Now when they are able to pick lot of holes in the Big Four documentation, कौन से खेती मिलेगी? हम तो देख नहीं पाएंगे ना. तो हमें जो है at the same time you don't want to give up this, right? So we have to dedicate a lot of our time in ensuring that we do our homework in completing the documents in time. And I am highlighting the word in time. Because one of the requirements of NAFRA is also that when you have signed the report, those documents should have been there in your file. हमें आदत क्या है, कागज से बना दिया, सब बना दिया, इकट्ठा करते रहे बात, तो छूट गया तो ब्रांच से बाद में लेके आ जाते हैं. ठीक है. Expectation of the NAFRA is rightly so that when you are issuing the audit opinion, those documents should have been there in your file. ठीक है. Organizing those files, they give you 60 days, that's a different issue. But we take that 60 days for even for collection of the time and collection of the document. We will have a lot of mails which is getting access to the branch. We will have documents which is printed subsequent to the signing of the audit report. तो हम तो जो है NAFRA को लेटर पे दे रहे हैं कि ये देखो कि मेरा फाइल देख लो and you have sufficient material to proceed my job. और we should be very very careful. 2 दिन आपको अच्छा लगेगा, थोड़ी हिलसा होगी. The branch management may be dissatisfied with you, but it is in our own interest that we make sure that we complete our audit documentation file very in time. When I say I'm not saying filing from that sense, but at least the documents which are required to be taken to substantiate the procedure what we are supposed to be doing has been done, has to be in the file well before the signing of the. Let's go to the next. So these are of the few of the information which are available to the branch auditor for starting the audit. So generally what we do, हम लोग उसका कंट्रोल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट देखते हैं, कोई रेवेन्यू डिटेल्स का रिपोर्ट देखते हैं, इंटरनल इंस्पेक्शन का रिपोर्ट देखते हैं, स्टॉक ऑडिट का रिपोर्ट देखते हैं, लास्ट ईयर का LFR देखते हैं. One thing which we miss out in the MIS report. Now every branch is supposed to be having MIS. क्योंकि फाइनली ब्रांच मैनेजर जो है 31 मार्च के बाद वो डिसाइड नहीं करता ना कि मेरी ब्रांच ने कैसा परफॉर्म किया है. He is also subjected to review by his superiors on a regular basis. Could be weekly, could be daily. For certain items, he is supposed to be he is being reviewed on a daily basis. For certain items, he is being reviewed on a weekly basis. Certain items he gets reviewed on a monthly basis. ऐसा एक भी आइटम नहीं कि उसको क्वार्टर के एंड में करना है या तो साल में एक बार उसको देखना है. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम तो आपको एमआईएस देगा ही नहीं. वो कोई लग रहा है एमआईएस तो हमारे पास में आता नहीं है. One of the responsibility which has been cast upon the auditor in the LFR is the MIS report which is being generated is telling with the books of accounts. अभी हम कितने लोग करते हैं? पहली बात तो हमें MIS नहीं देता.
Is my report almost 100%?
आप तो जो है आपको मिलेगा ये रेंट में. आपको तो ये रेंट में मिलेगा. हमको तो कमेंट थ्रू द ईयर करना है. We are supposed to be commenting on what he has done. We are not supposed to be. हमारा काम नहीं MIS जनरेट करने का. उसने क्या किया हमको तो उसका रिपोर्ट करना है. Efficacy of the system, efficacy of the MIS we are supposed to be reporting. मैंने MIS जनरेट करके मैंने देख लिया कि आज ये रिपोर्ट बराबर आ रही है कि नहीं आ रही. Which is fine. 31 मार्च को ठीक हो गया. उसके पहले ठीक था कि नहीं. तो जो मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूँ चैलेंज जो होता है ना कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम द ब्रांच मैनेजमेंट विल से मुझे तो कोई एमआईएस आता ही नहीं. He doesn't want to sell the MIS. So this is one area where we are supposed to be insisting because I would like to see how your review is being done by your superiors, seniors or your controllers. That itself will give us lot of idea because boss को तो मालूम है ना धंधे में क्या हो रहा है. हम तो चलो आ गए ठीक है. उसके बोस को तो मालूम है क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है. So MIS is an area where I think we should give lot of emphasis which we have been to my mind many of us have not been giving emphasis. Second issue which we have been maybe not give much of the importance which has become extremely important now with the customer. हम कितने लोग कस्टमर कंप्लेंट देखते हैं लास्ट
कंप्लेंट
रजिस्टर तो आप देखते हैं
उस पे कितने कंप्लेंट आए हैं
तो स्टैटिस्टिक्स देखते हैं ना.
स्टेटिस्टिक्स उसके साथ
वो देखना चाहिए. तो इसको मैं डिफरेंटली बोलता हूँ. आपके पास में जो कस्टमर की कंप्लेंट है आपको फ्री में आपको किसी ने ऑडिट करके दे दी. भाई मैं कस्टमर मान लो मेरे को ब्याज कम मिला मैं तो बैंक के पास में जाऊंगा ना. या मेरा कुछ लोन है मेरे को ब्याज ज्यादा लगा दिया बैंक के पास में कंप्लेंट करूंगा. ठीक है. So from the complaint register we get to know lot of issues which we as an auditor because हमारा focus किस पे रहता है generally advances and the items which are there in the financial statements. We don't give much emphasis to the customer complaint. Apart from free का हमको ज्ञान मिलता है उसमें this has become very important from the regulatory perspective. रेगुलेटर को अभी इकोनॉमी अच्छी चल रही है सब जगह तो आप देख रहे हो कि एवरीथिंग मूविंग. यू डोंट फाइंड एनी सेक्टर वेयर द यू कैन से बिकॉज़ ये धंधा अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है. अभी टी ब्रेक में मैं बात कर रहा था नीचे भी बात किया सबका धंधा एकदम अच्छा बिल्कुल नहीं चल रहा. ठीक है. तो एडवांसेस में चैलेंज का होता है व्हेन द सर्टेन सेक्टर इज नॉट वेरी गुड. जब हाई टाइड में है तो सभी ऊपर आता है ना. तो उसमें चैलेंज हमारा चैलेंज जो रेगुलेटर का फोकस अभी किस पे है 2-3 चीजों पे. एक कस्टमर कंप्लेंट whether customer is grievance is being redressed in the manner in which you have committed. Second, know your customer. Know your customer whether you are complying with your not only KYC requirement, your e-KYC, your re-KYC. There are so many KYC. They are all harassed right when the branch managers. हर तीसरे दिन बोलता है यार मेरा ये KYC कर दो वो KYC कर दो. Now that's because the regulator is looking at an anti-money laundering. Earlier it was not part of your LFR. Since 2021, this has become part of our alert, where we are also supposed to be commenting on the KYC. And KYC is something which, while we don't give much of the importance, is extremely important for a bank. Because आपने जो एंट्री मिस्टेक नहीं की, एक बार बंदा अंदर आ गया, then he speak to everything, he has access to everything, right? Once I become a customer of the bank, then I can avail all their services. मैं उसका मोबाइल बैंकिंग भी कर सकता हूँ, मैं उसका इंटरनेट बैंकिंग भी कर सकता हूँ, मेरे को चेक बुक भी देगा, थोड़े दिन में मेरा अकाउंट देगा, मुझे क्रेडिट कार्ड भी देगा, सब कुछ देगा. So entry level is something where I have to make sure that I stop the undesirable customer which doesn't fit into my customer acceptance policy. So that is something which is very, very important, which we are supposed to be seeing. Another area of the focus which the regulator has been insisting is the fair practice code. What is fair practice code? How a customer is being, whether a customer is being treated fairly or not. There has been a lot of circulars which has come during the last 1 to 2 years on the fairness of, let us say, the charges which are being levied from the customer. Could be your penal charges, could be, let us say, you have your this check bounce charges, your EMI bounce charges, those kind of charges. One of the circulars which RBI has and where I find a lot of banks have been found one thing is, मेरा check bounce हो गया, check bounce का मान लो उसको 590 रुपया लगाना है, मेरे अकाउंट में बैलेंस नहीं, मेरे अकाउंट में 200 हो गया, उसने मेरे से 200 रुपया ले लिया, 390 रुपये का उसने बोर्ड लगा दिया, ये सही है क्या? In a savings bank account, the bank cannot put any hold, but most of the bank do that. मैं अगली बार 1000 रुपये जमा करते पहले कर दे 300 रुपये ले लेगा, तो तुम्हारा पहले का बाकी है. He cannot have any hold in the account. He can only draw to the extent of the available balance. That is, you can have hold only in the current account, not in the savings bank account. So, from the fair practice code perspective, in terms of disclosure of, let us say, when the account is getting classified as NPA, how many of us look at the loan agreement from all these perspective? The requirement is, we need to give an example when an account can get classified as SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2, and NPA. The experience suggests that the bank has been making mistake in that, because when the account, when does the amount becomes due? Whether it becomes overdue on the next day, or whether it becomes overdue the same day. If, let us say, the interest has applied on 31st of March, when does that, and if the interest has not been serviced on 31st of March, when would the account become overdue, on 31st March or 1st of April? Anyone? No one. Next day, 1st of April. No. This will become overdue on 31st itself. And that is what is a common mistake many of the banks have been doing. That, so to give an example, the account should get classified as SMA 1 on after 30th day. So this account would get classified as an SMA 1 on 30th of April rather than on 1st of April. So these kind of things which we are supposed to be seeing from the customer fair practice code perspective, whether the customer has been adequately informed. This is how your account is going to get classified as SMA. Because your and my account is also getting impacted. मेरा सिटी में नाम जाता है, मेरा स्कोर खराब होता था. ठीक है? So as a customer, I have right to know. आपने मेरे को बोला 1 तारीख को होगा और लेकिन 31 को हो गया, आपने जो सिस्टम से रिपोर्ट आएगा वो तो बता दिया मेरा वोट भी हो गया है, मेरा स्कोर खराब कर दिया। ठीक है, सिमिलरली आपके पास में तो क्या इधर बैठ वो थोड़ा फिगर रख दिया, that's the reason I'm seeking here. So from the customer code perspective, saying on the SMA 012, similarly on your customer fair practice code, you have the appropriation of use. How many of us look at the appropriation? How it has been given in your, let us say, loan document, and whether the appropriation has been made in accordance with that? Do we look at that? So if the customer, what is happening, वो document बनाया हुआ है कभी बाबा आदम के जमाने से वो चल रहा है, यदि जो document को किसी ने देखा भी नहीं है, बिकॉज मुझे अगर चेंज करना है, मैंने जाके सिस्टम में चेंज कर दिया कि मैं अभी जो है पहले इंटरेस्ट की बजाय पहले पेनल इंटरेस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट करूंगा, या तो कुछ बैंक वाले बोला नहीं अभी इंटरेस्ट सबसे बाद में दूंगा, पहले प्रिंसिपल दूंगा। ठीक है, प्रिंसिपल के बाद में इंटरेस्ट दूंगा, उसके बाद में पेनल इंटरेस्ट दूंगा, उसके बाद में चार्जेस दूंगा। डिपेंडिंग ऑन देयर ओन कन्वीनियंस पीपल आर मॉडिफाइड। एग्रीमेंट में तो पता है क्या लिखा मिलेगा, सबसे पहले लूंगा मैं सारे चार्जेस, उसके बाद में लूंगा मैं इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट, उसके बाद में लूंगा पेनल इंटरेस्ट, उसके बाद में लूंगा इंटरेस्ट, उसके बाद में लूंगा प्रिंसिपल। Most of the agreements you will find it like this. Appropriation कैसे हो रहा है? For different, I will not say that. For different product they have done it differently. It is not necessarily it is being done. The point I am trying to say is that we need to be careful in seeing from the customer code perspective whether we are doing what has been agreed for. Whatever is your system, but you have signed a contract with the customer, loan agreement with the customer, then this is how you are going to be appropriating. Now, does it impact our true and fair? It may not impact our true and fair. Coming back to the materiality, so when we are reporting so many things, we end up reporting, let us say, money materiality of 10 lakh. Now, ये एक example है. इसमें वो बोलेगा सर मेरा और तो पूरे साल में 2 लोन था, what different does it make? Then we cannot apply materiality threshold because this is something which is system work. The purpose of the branch audit is that as a central auditor, you cannot be looking at everything at the central right. You look at the systems, but how it is getting implemented will know only when you do the transaction audit at the operating branches, right? So that kind of a value addition, if we are able to make, then the relevance of the branch audit will continue to be there. Today, as a central auditor, when they ask me, what is the value addition? Many times I found one thing, it was bigger. I am not saying there are no observations which comes in, but maybe out of let us say the 1,000 branches I am seeing, maybe as a branch auditor हमारा ये होता है यार तो central auditor report तो देखता नहीं है, मैं क्यों भर रहा हूँ? But 95% of the cases branch auditors का report को central auditor नहीं पढ़ता है। क्यों नहीं पढ़ता है? क्योंकि उसमें पढ़ने जैसा कुछ होता नहीं। पढ़ने जैसा कुछ होगा तो उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, ही कैनॉट इग्नोर। आपने मेरे को कुछ लिख के दिया है तो आई कैनॉट सिंपली पुट इट इनटू द ट्रैश बिन नाउ, आई हैव टू टेक कॉग्निजेंस ऑफ दैट। So most of the time, so the area of focus, as I said, from advances, we need to shift from advances to your customer complaints, your fair practice code. Another area of fair practice code जो मैं आपको अभी जो ये relevant है इस ऑडिट में, आपको पता होगा आरबीआई ने अभी एक रो चेंज दिया है कि आपका CIC which is civil, जैसे सिविल हो गया, एक्सपीरियंस हो गया, क्या बोलते हैं इसको, क्रेडिट इन्फॉर्मेशन कंपनीज। हमारा कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन होता है वो क्रेडिट कार्ड का हो, लोन का हो, उनके पास जाता है, वो गलत भी इंफॉर्मेशन दे दिया होता है तो हमारे पास में आज तक क्या होता है, हम क्या करें, तो सिविल के पास, आप सिविल के पास जाओ। दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव एक्सपीरियंस। हमका सबका कभी ना कभी पास में कभी कोई क्रेडिट कार्ड का डिस्प्यूट रहा हुआ होगा, मेरा है नहीं, सबका है, आप अकेले नहीं है सर, बिकॉज वो प्रोडक्ट ऐसा है, तो वही बता रहा हूँ, वो प्रोडक्ट ऐसा है। इनफैक्ट आई केम अक्रॉस वेरी रिसेंटली वन ऑफ द पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट के किधर बैंक में आया कि ये इसका अकाउंट हो सिविल में, किधर कोई पंजाब नेशनल बैंक में एग्रीकल्चरल लोन लिया, वो एनपीए है। वो भाई जो है प्रैक्टिसिंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, उसका एग्री से कोई दूर दूर तक लेना नहीं है। ठीक है, तो मैं बोला यार, you know these guys, why don't you speak to them and get my name removed from that. One of my friend who was appointed, I mean his application for appointment as an MD of ARC was pending with the Reserve Bank, was not getting cleared because he has some credit card default right from 2001 by given by the Standard Chartered Bank. This guy said, no, I have surrendered the card in 2001. यार वो मेरे पास उसका लेटर है. So we had nowhere to go. So the RBI had come out with a guideline that there is a time limit which has been given when you complain to the branch, within how many days the branch is supposed to be responding, within how many days the CIC is supposed to be responding, and in the entire process, if things does not get done within 30 days, then the customer is entitled for a compensation at the rate of 500 rupees per day. Now, this is a new area which we are supposed to be looking at. When you will find issues, we will find tons of issues in this. Similarly, अब लोगों ने हाउसिंग लोन लिया होगा, व्हीकल लोन लिया होगा, लोन ले लेते हैं, महीनों महीनों का डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं देते, ठीक है, एंड देन वी आर देयर मर्सी, पैसा तो दे दिया, वो हर साल आता है, वो शेड्यूल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट में है, यहाँ है, वहाँ है। इनफैक्ट रिसेंटली वन ऑफ BCS past president, he had taken loan from one of my client bank. उसने मेरे को बोला, संजय मैं देखता हूँ वो 29 दिन हो गया है, इतना दिन में लोन डॉक्यूमेंट देता नहीं, तो तेरे पास आऊंगा, इसका मेरे को चार्जेस दिलवाना। मैं बोला देखो मेरे लिए वो कोई आएगा, मैं देखता हूँ वो शो मोटो चार्जेस दे रहे कि नहीं दे, उसको डॉक्यूमेंट दिया उन्होंने 30 days। They are supposed to be returning those documents within 30 days. He has returned the mail to the bank saying that the regulation requires you to give me a document within 30 days. You have not given me within 30 days. I am eligible for 5,000 rupees per day of the compensation. ठीक है, अभी जब मैं ये ऑडिट करूंगा तब मुझे पता चलेगा कि वो उनका पहले रिपोर्टिंग में आया कि, बट ये कस्टमर कंप्लेंट से आपको पता चल जाएगा, ठीक है। The point I am saying is, for us to remain relevant, we should not focus only on the advances. We must come out of that mindset, branch audit मतलब खाली advances है। There are so many other areas where we are able to add a lot of value to the bank, to the central auditors, so that our relevance still remains. एक इनका हर ब्रांच में एक्सेप्शन रिपोर्ट आता है, ठीक है, every branch at the part of the EOD receives exception report. Some of these might get daily, some of these reports might be generated on a monthly basis or weekly basis. We should go through with exception reports, which will give you your likely NPA latest in next 1 week, likely NPA in the next 15 days, where the instances where the insurance policy is likely to get expired. So many things which are relevant for you for the purpose of asset classification, we will get this from the exception report. We don't have to reinvent the wheel of no, इस सारा मैं उसका लिस्ट निकाल के देता हूँ, कि यार किसमें स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट आया, किसमें नहीं आया, किसका इंश्योरेंस ड्यू हो रहा नहीं हो रहा, सारी चीजें इसमें एक्सेप्शन रिपोर्ट में मिल जाती है. Another area where we get into the exception report, which also again has been a focus of the regulator in the last 2 years, is your internal office accounts, which is your system suspense, your Sanjay accounts. So these kind of an accounts which are either part of my schedule 5 or schedule 9 and schedule 11. They does not get classified either as a deposit or an advances. Now, we generally have not been paying much of an emphasis on those accounts. That is something which has been focus of the review. So, in those areas, जो आपको बता रहा हूँ मैं, इन पे सब पे every bank has been levied penalty during last 2 years. Whether it is a customer complaint, whether it is KYC, whether it is fair practice code, whether आपका जो मैंने बोला internal office account, अगर आप पेपर में पढ़ते होंगे आरबीआई का पेनल्टी तो अभी छोटा मोटा लगता नहीं है, देखो 1 करोड़ 2 करोड़ 5 करोड़ 10 करोड़ इसी तरह से पेनल्टी चलता रहता है. वन वायलेशन डिपेंडिंग ऑन द टाइप ऑफ वायलेशन दे हैव फिक्स्ड अमाउंट. कोई सुनवाई नहीं, आपने गलती किया पेनल्टी पे करो. नाउ इफ देयर आर समथिंग व्हिच इज ग्रोस नेग्लिजेंस व्हिच इज देयर, ब्रांच ऑडिट वाला भी चक्कर में है. राइट, जनरली हमको लगता है कि ब्रांच ऑडिट में क्या मामला है, something which is there where they find something KYC में गलत हुआ है. It is the branch auditors who will be held responsible because KYC, AML, all those areas is something which is supposed to be focus of the branch audit. So that is we should be very very careful even though these are non-financial matters. चैलेंजेस भी डिस्कस कर रहा हूँ आपसे, तभी से आया तब से लगता है.
उसके अलावा बताइए.
हाँ,
उसके अलावा
नहीं. सो व्हाइट प्रेजेंटेशन एज आई मेंशन इन द बिगिनिंग कि मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन तो बनाया था कि चलो मुझे पता नहीं था द प्रोफाइल ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट, बट व्हेन आई सॉ दिस मुझे लगा सारी तो एक्सपीरियंस होगा उनको, बैंक ऑडिट क्या है वो क्या पता, चैलेंजेस भी डिस्कस करना. सो या आई थिंक वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड many of these we have discussed. I think सारे हमने डिस्कस कर लिए. Now these are of the few of the auditable area which I think I will skip. All of us are aware what is to be done, what is not to be done. So review the suspense, system suspense, technical suspense, all these things while I just mentioned why we should be putting a lot of focus. So RBI has found that many a times the branch. So in fact, there is one circular of the regulator, I think in 2021 or I don't know, 21 or 20, where RBI has said that the window dressing at the branch level will be viewed very seriously and this they will levy heavy penalty. Now, whether the head office is interested in the window dressing, no bank is interested in any regulatory violation. Let me be very clear. आपको सब बोलेगा नहीं ये सब ऊपर से प्रेशर है, ये कोई प्रेशर नहीं, उसका खुद का परफॉर्मेंस का इश्यू है. स्टोरी हमने बहुत सुनाएगा. We don't have to give any our ears to those stories because nobody in the bank would be interested in going against the RBI guidelines. Earlier वो छोड़ देता था कि उनको मालूम है जमाना बदल गया है. They will not be spared. So window dressing branch management करता है, कैसे करता है? कुछ एग्जांपल आपने भी देखे होंगे, कुछ एग्जांपल बता सकते हैं? तो मेरा मैं ब्रांच मैनेजर, मेरा प्रमोशन ड्यू है, मुझे टारगेट दिया है, मेरा तो टारगेट तो हुआ नहीं, नहीं क्या करूं? मैं एक डिपॉजिट अकाउंट खोल दिया है और एक मैंने लोन अकाउंट उसको डिस्बर्स कर दिया, तो पैसा मैंने डिपॉजिट में डाल दिया, मेरा एडवांस भी बढ़ गया, डिपॉजिट भी बढ़ गया. कस्टमर तो होते होते मेरे पास में अप्रैल में आएगा तो उसको बोलूं यार रिवर्स कर देता हूँ तेरा ब्याज का, रिवर्स कर. Is it something which is an exception? It is not an exception. But is it something which is rampant? It is not rampant. So we need to keep our eyes and ears open. Because window dressing is something which happens at the branch only. It doesn't happen at the instructions of anybody else. And people will do for their own self motive. डिपॉजिट की बजाय वो उसके सस्पेंस पर डालेगा. सस्पेंस में एंट्री है. See, there are so many things. Sorry.
उसको डिपॉजिट में लेके
हाँ, so इनके पास में प्ले करने के लिए कुछ अकाउंट ही है. भाई आपके अकाउंट को डेबिट कर दिया. ठीक है, तो आप तो अप्रैल में आओगे, चलो तब अप्रैल में आएगा, रिवर्सल करेगा, तब बोस पकड़ लेगा, लेकिन उसका मार्च का तो निकल गया है. ठीक है, ये सस्पेंस अकाउंट है. ये सारे जो अकाउंट्स है ना, these are the accounts where these number one, these are fraud zone area. Our practice, including me, has been we only look at year-end balances. Because हमको आगे क्या बोलता है, सस्पेंस का एजिंग दे रहा हूँ, उससे मानते क्या है, अजय आपका 3 महीने मेरे को एजिंग दे दो, less than 3 months, more than 3 months, more than 3 months है, इसका प्रोविजन कर दो, less than 3 months छोड़. This is how we have been doing it. But of late, regulator has observed that these are something, and what that was one of the reasons the regulator has levied heavy penalty on the bank. That because these internal office account, you have to have control. And these controls are periodically, and when I say periodically, every quarter is supposed to be required to be placed before the audit committee. And the CFO of the bank is fully responsible. Now, when I talk about the PSU bank, so in the first slide I said that what is centralized, what is not centralized. But all these things are in private sector banks are centralized. This is one area in the PSU bank which unfortunately still remains decentralized branch specific. Branch वाला suspense में कुछ भी बात कर सकता है. Expenditure उसका बजट तो बराबर हो रहा है. एडवांस सेल्स का भी बराबर हो रहा है, मेरा डिपॉजिट का भी बराबर हो रहा है, लेकिन प्रॉफिट बराबर नहीं. तो मैं कोई मेरा खर्चे का बिल को सस्पेंस में बात करूं या कुछ तो इनकम फी बुक करके इधर सस्पेंस में डाल दिया. So these kind of malpractices which do happen at some of the branches, we need to guard against that. And we need to keep our eyes and ears open to see, okay, these are the some things where we are able to add huge amount of value to the central auditor and in the process to the bank. Another area probably I will highlight here is the contingent liability acceptance. So acceptance, can anyone tell me what is acceptance? Bills of exchange when it goes to the acceptance. So bills of exchange is definitely accept, but I am referring to the bill discounted. So acceptance is what?
collection
Sorry?
collection
No. Bills of collection is not accepted. So the bank has issued the LC, which is the user's LC. Right? So when the user's LC has been issued, against that LC, the supplier will draw the bill. Then the bank is supposed to be, as per the LC term, supposed to be seeing it was इसका सारा document बराबर है कि नहीं. Once they are satisfied, they will accept the bill, which has been issued by the supplier. And the moment they accept the bill, thereafter it is the bank will become liable whether the customer pays or doesn't pay. One area where you will find this problem, and this can be addressed only at the branch, is bill आ गया है लेकिन मैंने acceptance का एंट्री पास नहीं किया. Because ये कोई फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शन तो है नहीं जिससे आपको पता चलेगा. ठीक है, मेरा एलसी है, एलसी में उसने बिल ड्रॉ किया है, तो मैंने एलसी के सामने वो बिल का अमाउंट लिख दिया लेकिन एंट्री पास नहीं किया. सॉरी,
Contingent liability.
हाँ नहीं, कंटीजेंट लायबिलिटी तो एलसी भी है ना.
Yes, contra, they are not passing the entry.
हाँ, no, what I am saying is, कॉन्ट्रा तो मैंने एलसी का भी पास किया. मान लीजिए मैंने जो है 1000 रुपए का एलसी इशू किया था.
They are not reversing.
Sorry?
Stand in. The LC is here or bank guarantee is here. They have not reversed the entry.
No, I know the reversal. वो एक्सपायरी की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मैं तो बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कि 1000 रुपए का मैंने मान लीजिए एलसी इशू किया.
पहले इसी के
पार्ट शिपमेंट अलाउड है तो उसने 100 रुपए का बिल ड्रॉ किया, मैंने 1000 रुपए का एलसी इशू किया, तो सिस्टम ने मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स एज ए कंट्रोल ऑटोमेटिकली एलसी मैंने इशू किया तो एंट्री पास कर देगा, कॉन्ट्रा एंट्री भी पास कर देगा। लेकिन उसमें मैंने 100 रुपए का बिल एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, पार्टिसिपेंट अलाउड था, तो एलसी लाइबिलिटी तो मेरी कंटीजेंट अभी भी 1000 ही है, बिकॉज पैसा तो मैंने दिया नहीं है। लेकिन एलसी की 100 रुपया है, एलसी की 900 रुपया, 100 रुपया एक्सेप्टेंस की। And does it make a difference whether it is an LC or acceptance? Does it make a difference? It makes a difference, it's a huge difference, because in LC, your liability is still contingent. The fellow may supply or may not supply the goods. In the acceptance, you have already committed that I will pay you due date so much of the rupees. So while this still remains the contingent, but this is to be treated more like your fund-based limit. So you will consider this for the purpose of capital adequacy as if you have granted in the money. Whereas in LC, you won't consider, you will still consider the risk weight which is equivalent to a non-fund-based limit. So that's the difference which we need to understand. ये काफी जगह मैंने देखा है कि people don't pass an accounting entry related to that. This I think I can skip. ये तो हमने डिस्कस कर लिया. Now, ये key consideration में जो what are the reports which are available section. Sorry, you had some question? No, you can ask me the question there and there, because while I have been trying to make this interactive, but if there is anything which you need to ask, you stop me there and there. Do you want to have separate question answer session? Required or not required? Because I have
कुछ कर सकते तो अभी कर सकते।
नहीं, मैं तो ऐसे I will try to be interactive, but I do not know if you want to have separate session for the session. Because otherwise, if you want to have question answer, तो अपना तो time हो गया, कौन तो बज गया है। रखना है और you want me to continue?
Sir, please continue.
So these are the indicative list of exception report. I will not tell, I will not take much of your time into this, because all of you are fully aware of this. Now, एक चीज तो है इसमें खाली जो ध्यान रखना है, बीजी इन्वोक, बीजी इन्वोकेशन का अपने पास में तो जानकारी कहाँ से मिलेगा? Till the time you pay, we will not know, right? Because unless you part in the fund, you not form part of the your performance. So that is where the cutoff procedure becomes very, very important. Whether when we are looking at on that day, on the invocation the register, that day will be verified. We see whether is there any BG which has got revoked. Because जो बंदा जो है एंट्री नेक्स्ट डे करेगा तो सिस्टम नेक्स्ट डे लेगा, 31st को तो उसको इन्वोकेशन लेगा नहीं, ठीक है? Classification of the BG into financial and performance also is something which is in a gray area. I think we should devote some time on that as well. So the first one, as I said, in advances now, responsibility nowadays has mainly got shifted into what is getting inputted in the system. That is something which is very, very important, because particularly in the corporate type of advance, the interest rate is something which we all see can vary very widely. होम लोन में है तो अगर उन्होंने बोला 7.75 है तो आपको भी 7.75 है, इनको भी 7.75 है, मुझे भी 7.75 है. You will have very few instances where there is a concession. But when it comes to the corporate advances, you will have certain borrowers उसको 8.5 भी दिया है, you have borrowers उसको 15% भी दिया. And these interest rates, and in the case of the corporate advances, are something which is always shared manually. Two things which you need to be careful is, first, if it is in a floating rate, are we keying in the many times बंदा क्या करता है उसके अंदर actual interest rate आता है. rather than linking it with the benchmark. Whether it is my bank's MCLR, whether it is an external benchmark, I need to select what is the spread. If I don't select these two, मैंने दिया कि आज की रेट क्या है, आज की रेट 9.5 है, मैंने उसके अंदर 9.5 डाल दिया, उसके बाद में EBLR चेंज हो गया या MCLR चेंज हो गया, उसका तो 9.5 चलेगा, जिंदगी भर चलेगा, वो कोई आदमी पकड़ेगा भी नहीं उसको. So this is the area where we need to be looking at it. Can you generate latest exception reports? To my mind, you are in a position to generate exception reports. Can you give me the list where all there has been change in the interest rate during the year? एक तो नया तो अपने को देखना ही है. New loans which has been granted, we are supposed to be seeing if it is in the above or mentality threshold. Even for the past also, we need to be seeing which all there has been changes. We also need to see, okay, during the year, has there been any change in the MCLR? Which are the external benchmark you have been using? तो बोलेगा मैं repo rate ले रहा हूँ, T-bill ले रहा हूँ, okay, repo rate, T-bill का आपका जब भी change होता है आपको किसी को बताता है. You must be getting some communication. You show us how this has happened. But once it is linked out, the rate of interest will automatically get changed, but we need to verify whether this has actually got changed or not.
Pencil letter, it is mentioned that 3 month MCLR. So after 3 months, it will get a new system. At 6 month MCLR.
You are right. So if the MC is linked to the 3 months MCLR, 3 months MCLR does not mean it will change after 3 months. You have an MCLR which is for different period. You have 3 months MCLR, you have 1 month MCLR, you have 6 months MCLR, you have 1 year MCLR. So that 3 month MCLR is tenor. But at what periodicity the rate should be reset is something which is also there in the section.
After 3 months, banker is changing, then it will get changed.
No, that is what I think. That will depend. It will depend if I have key linked to the MCLR. मुझे वहाँ पे आएगा ना कि मैं इसको इंटरेस्ट रेट को किससे लिंक कर रहा हूँ. Am I linking to the MCLR? That is, I am linking to 3 months MCLR. If I am linking it to the 3 months MCLR, should it get changed automatically? It should get changed automatically. हमें चेक करना है कि एक्चुअल में हुआ है. See, different bank has done it differently. ऐसा नहीं है ना, मेरा तो डिस्बर्समेंट तो रोज हो रहा है, ठीक है. Now कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरे को हर क्वार्टर एंड 3 मंथ्स का मतलब जो है 31 मार्च है, 30 सितंबर है, 31 दिसंबर है, 30 जून, ऐसा नहीं है ना. It could be 3 months anniversary from the due date also, right? So आपने जो है लेटर से MCLR चेंज किया 13 मार्च को, ठीक है. किसी का एनिवर्सरी है मान लो 12 मार्च को, तो उसका तो चेंज नहीं हुआ, उसका तो नेक्स्ट साइकिल में चेंज होगा. तो हमें देखना है कि इंटरेस्ट अप्लाई 31 मार्च को हो रहा है, ठीक है. कहीं उसका तो चेंज नहीं हो गया, नहीं उसका तो चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए था, बिकॉज उसका तो जो है 13 तारीख को जो मेरा MCLR चेंज हुआ, उस दिन तो उसका कोई रीसेट का डेट ही नहीं था. So the nitty-gritty or intricacies of the sanction letter, particularly on the interest rate on advances, we need to be careful. Because यहाँ पे generally understanding of the branch manager is also one thing. Does it satisfy your query or not? Okay. देखिए PSL वाला जो है, PSL and MSME, I think you must also focus in these two things. Again, this is more relating to the data entry, because RBI's focus has been the priority sector. Bank do get classify a lot of loans which are not actually priority sector but classified as priority sector. To give an example, I as a partner of the firm, my firm is registered as MSME. I have taken a, let us say, vehicle loan in my own name. Can the bank classify this as an MSME? मैं तो उसको बोलता हूँ यार ये तो repayment तो कम से है, कम का मैंने लेटर दे दिया, ठीक है. इस फॉर्म में मेरे फॉर्म में रीपे करेगी, हमने मुझे लेटर दे दिया. We as a partner is entitled for the car, so this liability is over, so you can debit my account. Is it priority sector. It will not be the priority sector because who is the borrower? Borrower is the partner, not the firm. So these are common mistakes which banks do. Of classifying non-priority sector advances within the priority sector or MSME. I mean, there has been a lot of circulars on the MSME because that is something which also has been focused on the government. Okay, we need to be making sure that they have the sufficient document to classify those accounts as MSME. This I am talking about lending, I am not talking about they being as an let us say the creditor. मैं तो tax audit वाली बात नहीं कर रहा. ये जो मैं बात कर रहा हूँ basically lending to the borrowers who has been classified as MSME. So that is something which is very important. Similarly, proper flagging of the schemes, loans covered under the CGTMSE, CGTMSE, CGFMU, ECLES, ECLGS, your ECDC. Because if we do not flag it properly, this will have a lot of impact on your risk weights. This also has an impact your NPA identification. So we need to be very careful when we are looking at these two items, the last three items, PSL, MSME, and guaranteed assurance. This I think all of us know. Everything is standard, probably I think this we already discussed as some 1, 2, 3. ये तो सिस्टम जनरेटेड advances against term deposit NSE KVP is not something which is required to be classified as subject to one covenant that they are fully secured, fully covered. ऐसा नहीं हो कि मेरा जो है एडवांस अगेंस्ट NSE KVIP है या FD है लेकिन मेरे पास में सफिशिएंट मार्जिन नहीं है then they are subject to the same classification norms. Credit card के लिए this becomes 90 days not from the date when the credit card credit limit was utilized but from the payment due date mentioned on the statement. 90 days starts from there. These are early warning signals. I think all of us are aware. Decision, anybody decision whether you can give 4 years more extension or 3 years extension or 2 years extension. I think we need to refresh. There is no change in this. This has been there maybe since last almost 7, 8 years. No change in the provisioning norms as well. This I think we already discussed. So fixed asset only thing which I may be important, which I think I may share with you. Some of the banks may have a policy that okay, I will write off all the asset which is let us say less than 5,000 rupees or less than 1,000 rupees. Right? Is there anything wrong with that? Nothing. So you cannot have the policy that I will write off and fix asset. You can have a policy that I will provide 100%. There is a lot of difference in making provision of depreciation at the rate of 100% and not capitalizing it. Some of the banks I have seen policy बना के रखा है 1,000 रुपए से नीचे का asset को मैं capitalize नहीं करूँ या 5,000 रुपए से नीचे के asset को मैं capitalize नहीं करूँ. ठीक है तो टैक्स ऑडिट में क्या करेंगे हम हमारे पास तो डेटा ही नहीं है बट इज डेबिटिंग कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर उधर है उनका अकाउंट राइट. सिमिलरली ये हजार रुपए करके ब्रांचेस में जाके अगर मैं 5,000 ब्रांचेस का करता हूं तो दिस बिकम्स एन अमाउंट व्हिच इज वेरी मच. So whether my financial statements are reflected properly. So these kind of issues we need to be looking at it. The distinction between making 100% provision for depreciation and writing it off in a capital asset, we should keep that in mind. item ये हमने discuss कर लिया है. This also we have discussed. LFR also we have discussed the important points. So contingent liability, while we have discussed many items, one item which is important is claim against the bank. ठीक है. Now claim against the bank is not something जो कि LCBG तो मुझे contra entry मिल जाती है, मेरा trial balance में मिल जाती है. Claim against the bank तो मुझे entry भी नहीं मिलती है. So we need to evaluate what kind of systems and processes the bank has for assessing whatever is the claim which has been made against the bank, whether proper register में आता है कि नहीं आता है. So the moment you start looking the customer complaint, तो आपको मालूम चलेगा कि ये मेरा जो है क्लेम अगेंस्ट द बैंक में क्यों नहीं आएगा. हम कंप्लेंट लिखते हैं तो हम क्या बोलते हैं, दोस्त तुमने जो है ये नहीं किया, ये नहीं किया, मेरा जो है तुमने दिमाग खराब किया, उसका मेरे को 50 लाख रुपए हर्जाना दे दो. यू आल्सो राइट. If we are let us say really pissed off with the bank, this is what we also do. तो कितनी बार बोलो लिखने का यार, finally if you are not acting, you have wasted so much of my time, you pay me so much of compensation. You made a claim. Bank might not have acknowledged it. Does it form part of the claim against the bank not acknowledged as a debt? You will never come to know unless you look at the complaint register. So we need to be looking at complaint register and trying to correlate this with the claim register. Last में मैं घूम फिर के ये बोलूंगा, आप बोलोगे इतना सारा करना है तो शादी में कैसे होगा? That is for you to evaluate. Yeah, I think we have discussed most of it, or we are clear. IFC, I have already said, entity level control, we don't have to do anything. IT general control, we are supposed to be looking at only the IT systems which are being operated at the branch, not the general control of the systems which are centrally operated. Process level control, the bank is supposed to be providing which are the controls which are supposed to be looking at. So if I have to give you an example of this particular bank. So this control has given 16 plus 180. 196 controls we are supposed to be doing.
How to be possible within that so
तो
short
ऐसा
time?
वही तो मैंने शुरू में वो इसी तो शुरू किया.
हाँ.
मेरा जो आपका दुख है वो मेरा भी है. फर्क इतना ही है कि मैं जो है मैंने डिसाइड किया कि I don't want to continue with this way.
हाँ वो तो है. That is not so lucrative now.
196 control the bank wants you to see. पूरा लिस्ट दिया है उन्होंने. Process flow with respect to the closing details 16. Process flow with respect to the activities transactions being undertaken at the branches 180.
Oh.
Now ये 16 तो applicable है, ये 180 में हो सकता है लेटर से इसमें से 50 applicable नहीं हो. तो भी आपको 130 plus 16 146 150 कंट्रोल आपको टेस्ट करने हैं. How do you do that? And so that is what I am saying. So जिसने काम अच्छा किया है उसके लिए भी प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि आपको 146 कंट्रोल टेस्ट करने हैं, डॉक्यूमेंट भी करने हैं. ठीक है. और जिस बैंक ने इस पे ध्यान ही नहीं दिया है उसके लिए भी प्रॉब्लम है, बिकॉज आपने कोई पूछेगा आपने कंट्रोल टेस्ट कैसे किया, बोला मुझे तो किसी ने दिया है, तो फिर आपने रिपोर्ट कैसे किया. This I think we have and not be much relevant, but I think in the initial slide we discussed on the data analytic techniques. Yeah, I think I have completed everything in the given time.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Any question?
Yes, sir.
how to decide interest, charges, bank charges, can be. Because sometimes bank reverse the charges.
So bank,
Sometimes the bank says that RBI says that it has to be recovered from the interest itself.
so charges, whether it is interest or whether it is bank, is something which is based on your contract. Right? If the sanction letter which has been given to a borrower, which says that, okay, he is supposed to be levied interest at the rate of so and so. And these are the charges which are applicable. The customer can pay only those charges. If any charges which has been charged late, obviously the branch is supposed to reverse. This is as far as the contractual obligation is concerned, as far as the fair practice code is concerned. Over and above that, can bank reverse charges? Can bank reverse interest? The answer is no. Bank cannot reverse interest. Yes, bank do reverse penal interest for non-financial matters, which is what आपने स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट लेट दिया, ऑडिटेड अकाउंट्स लेट दिया, आपने इंश्योरेंस लेट करवाया, आपने वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट नहीं दिया, आपने सिक्योरिटी लेट करवाया. So these are the in the sanction letter you will find over 2% extra लूंगा, 4% extra लूंगा. There do they have discretion to waive? They have a discretion to waive. But anybody has a discretion to waive? The answer is no. There is a delegation of power which has been there in a bank. Basis which 5,000 है तो कौन कर सकता है, 50,000 है तो कौन कर सकता है, 5 लाख है तो कौन कर सकता है. That is something which is there. This is as far as the charges which are in the nature of penal interest. There may be a charges which are wrongly levied by the bank. मैंने तो स्टॉक स्टेटमेंट 10 तारीख को दे दिया था, आपने सिस्टम में एंट्री 12 तारीख को किया, मैं क्या करूं? अभी वहां पे उसने ऑटोमेट करके रखा सिस्टम ने जो उठा के बोला तुमने 2 दिन लेट दिया तो 2 दिन का पेनल इंटरेस्ट लगा दूंगा. ठीक है. When you go back to the bank, you go, here is your acknowledgement. Yeah, I gave you 10. It is your problem. You need to rectify. Will the bank reverse it? Obviously they will reverse it. But will they follow their laid down delegation of power? They are supposed to be following delegation of power. If they don't follow, obviously they are supposed to be reporting in the LFR.
But because of charges, interest debit, because the bank is debiting on first, for example, charges 5,000 rupees. They reverse after 3 months. So whether interest on that is also to be reversed.
Certainly, which is part of the fair practice code. Sorry?
Interest reverse means that they are doing.
कोई नहीं करता है, कोई नहीं करता है. वो आप जो बोल रहे हैं बिल्कुल सही है. भाई आपको जो इंटरेस्ट रिवर्सल करने के लिए उसको क्या करना पड़ता है? इंटरेस्ट रिवर्सल ऐसे नहीं होता है. The only thing which they can do is when they are reversing the charges, they are reversing the charges with the value. Suppose आपको इंटरेस्ट चार्ज डेबिट किया 1 मार्च को, रिवर्स आपको किया 30 मार्च को, तो आपको 30 दिन का ब्याज तो 5,000 रुपए लगने वाला ही है. Unless the charges are reversed with the value date of first. तो वो तो अभी कस्टमर विजिलेंट है तो बोलेगा भैया मेरे को वैल्यू डेट का क्रेडिट दे. कस्टमर विजिलेंट नहीं है तो सिस्टम में तो लग रहा है, सर वो लगेगा ही. हमारे में भी होता है ना सर, आपको रॉन्ग डेबिट कर दिया, फिर उसका जो है इंटरेस्ट पे उसका सर्विस टैक्स, क्रेडिट कार्ड में हमारा सबका डिस्प्यूट चलता है बिकॉज उनका सिस्टम में ऑटोमेटिकली रिवर्सल है ही नहीं. दूसरा आएगा आपने चार्जर रिवर्स कर दिया, स्टैंडर्ड आर्गन जीएसटी तो मैंने भर दिया, वो कैसे रिवर्स करूं? अरे भाई जीएसटी जो भर दिया उसका मैं क्या करूं? क्रेडिट नोट दो मेरे को.
जीएसटी छोड़ दीजिए.
नहीं छोड़ दीजिए, नहीं सर वो फेयर प्रैक्टिस कोड का पार्ट है. The point I am trying to tell you is, as a auditor, the expectation from the regulator is, are we treating our customers fairly? If we are not treating the customers fairly, the expectation from the regulator is, while we give our report on the true and fair view of the financial statement, that's not what the regulator is looking at. तो वो लोग तो करना ही ना, उसमें पूछना क्या है आपको? हम जाते हैं घर कोई चाय देता है तो हमको साथ में बिस्किट भी तो चाहिए यार, चाय लाए कुछ कुकीज तो ला. तो उनका वैसा ही नहीं, ये तो देना ही है. उसके अलावा आपको मेरे प्रैक्टिस कोड भी देना है, आपको ये भी देना है, ये भी देना है।
सपोज मैंने 10 लाख का पे ऑर्डर लिया और किसी गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी को दी, पे ऑर्डर इज नॉट रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय दैट गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी एंड द बैंक इज सीटिंग दैट मनी इन सस्पेंस।
नहीं, उस सस्पेंस में नहीं लगेगा भाई साहब, वो पे ऑर्डर में लगेगा।
मतलब पे ऑर्डर में पड़ा है पेंडिंग में,
हाँ।
पेंडिंग ट्रांजैक्शंस में।
हाँ।
After 3 years that shares up with the government agency, you are not presented this order and you are not collected the money. He said it is a misplaced. And I go back to the banker and cancel that pay order. Can I demand interest on this pay order? No. Because it was in pending transaction.
No, no, so. ये बार-बार कुछ ही सोच सकता है।
These are referred with me, that's why I am asking.
तो एकदम सिंपल चीज बता रहा हूँ।
हाँ।
बैंक ने पे ऑर्डर दिया,
Yeah.
आपके रिक्वेस्ट पे दिया।
जी।
So theoretically on the very same day the pay order could have got encased.
Theoretically, yes.
नहीं हुआ।
नहीं,
Theoretically.
theoretically मैंने कहा है।
We find.
Theoretically,
Funds तो रखा है।
the pay order could have got encased on the very same day, right? अभी किसी दूसरे ने नहीं किया है, अगर इंटरेस्ट का लॉस है तो उसका है, आपका तो है नहीं। आपको तो उसको पैसा देना था तभी पे ऑर्डर लिया ना।
अरे
ठीक है।
सर, ऐसा नहीं हुआ।
नहीं,
18% इंटरेस्ट चार्ज किया गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी ने।
नहीं तो गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी को आपने पे ऑर्डर नहीं किया।
वो बोला आपका पे ऑर्डर मिसप्लेस हो गया, they are not concerned, it's a MMRDA problem, so they have charged me interest also 18% from the day I am supposed to give the pay order, so very much acknowledgement है MMRDA का। Yes, it is yours, it was yours।
तो आपके पास वो सर मुंबई हाईकोर्ट जाने का ऑप्शन है, वो भी एमएमआरडीए के अगेंस्ट में बैंक के पास में जाके
दीवार से लड़ रहे हैं सर अपन।
हाँ?
और अपन तो दीवार से लड़ेंगे।
बिल्कुल वही है सर।
Another problem, so really which I have encountered, they have credited some interest and TDS to my account, okay? Or they have shown in 26 years some different figure, higher interest, higher TDS. Now, और ये भी नया रूल आया कि भाई आप अपना देख लो, भाई उसके हिसाब से TDS आपने दिखाया नहीं, इंटरेस्ट दिखाया नहीं। अब उसमें अपन नहीं करेंगे तो स्कूटी में आएगा। State Bank of India has made this mistake. They have shown higher interest, they have shown higher TDS, actually उतना दिया ही नहीं।
So
कैपिटल गेन्स स्कीम से
हम आपको बता दें।
अब उसके अंदर मैंने स्टेट बैंक को लिख के दिया, अब वो बोलता है मैं TDS रिटर्न डिवाइस दूंगा, तो जो TDS मेरे को मिला वो भी नहीं मिलेगा। मतलब आप समझ रहे हैं मेरी डुअल प्रॉब्लम। तो उस केस में हम बैंक के ऊपर क्या क्लेम कर सकते?
तो मैं आपको दो चीज बोल रहा हूँ इसमें, पहला ये क्यों होता है, या तो एक तो मिस्टेक हो सकती है, दूसरा क्या होता है कि देयर इज अ प्रीमेच्योर विथड्रॉवल ऑफ द, ठीक है। जनरली प्रॉब्लम आती है, मैंने एफडी की थी मान लो 5 साल की, इंटरेस्ट रेट था 7%, 3 साल में मैंने जो है एफडी एनकेस कर ली, तो इंटरेस्ट रेट मेरा रेगुलेशन क्या होता है, 3 साल का इंटरेस्ट रेट जो होना चाहिए था मान लो था वो 6% प्लस पेनल्टी विच इज लेटर से 1%, तो 5% ही आपको ब्याज मिलेगा, तो वो रिकम्प्यूट करेगा 5% पे पूरा, ठीक है। तो आपको उसने जो इंटरेस्ट दिया मान लो करंट ईयर में आपको इंटरेस्ट दिया उसने 2 लाख रुपया, और उसने इंटरेस्ट रिकवर कर लिया 1.5 लाख रुपया एज ए पेनल्टी, ठीक है। आपका 26 ईयर्स में 2 लाख ही दिखेगा, टीडीएस आपका 20,000 ही दिखेगा, आप बोलेगा यार मुझे तो 50,000 ही मिला, लेकिन 1.5 लाख रुपया आपका पेनल्टी था, ठीक है। ये एक हो गया जहाँ पे सिनेरियो वेयर this is not a mistake, this is something which is transactional in nature where you will have this problem wherever there is a premature withdrawal. दूसरा आपने कहा कि उसने मिस्टेक कर दिया, हो सकता है कि मेरी जगह आपका पेन लगा दिया उसने, ठीक है, तो आपके 26 ईयर्स में आ गए, अभी उसकी 26 ईयर्स में आने आपने बताया तो उसको रेक्टिफाई करेगा, बिल्कुल करेगा। The only mechanism for him to rectify is what to revise the TDS return. TDS return जो है वो एक कस्टमर का रिवाइज करेगा नहीं करेगा, बिकॉज आज उनका प्रॉब्लम है, कल आपका है, परसों इनका है, रोज TDS रिटर्न रिवाइज करेगा, तो बैंक लाइक स्टेट बैंक विल कीप रिवाइजिंग एवरी डे एवरी रिटर्न, तो वो क्या करेगा, एक्यूमुलेट करेगा इसको, मे बी वंस इन अ क्वार्टर, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ ओल्ड इट इज। करंट ईयर का है तो हर क्वार्टर कर देगा, सपोज आप बोले 2 साल पुराना है, 2 साल में एक बार ही रिवाइज करेगा, बोले कितनी बार रिवाइज करूँ, let it be accumulated, right? वो आपको रिवाइज करके देगा, रिवाइज करेगा तो टीडीएस क्रेडिट क्यों नहीं मिलेगा सर? टीडीएस क्रेडिट मिलेगा, लेकिन स्क्रूटनी में आ गया, फिर आप बोले मेरे को दूसरा सीए हायर करना पड़ा, उसकी फीस लग गई, बोले
उल्टा हो गया कि समझो वो टीडीएस पहले ज्यादा दिखाया उसने,
हाँ
बाद में उसने रिटर्न रिवाइज किया, तो मेरे को टीडीएस और क्रेडिट मैंने ली थी वो भी रिड्यूस हो गई।
तो आपने
और
गलत
रिटर्न
किया ना भाई।
अच्छा मैं रिटर्न रिवाइज कर नहीं सकता, मेरा तो डेडलाइन चला गया दिसंबर के पहले मैंने
नहीं बट आपको तो टीडीएस जब आपका था ही नहीं तो क्लेम ही नहीं करना चाहिए था।
नहीं वो नहीं करना चाहिए, पर इनकम तो मैं ज्यादा दिखा रहा हूँ ना।
बट आपकी तो है नहीं, तो दिखाई क्यों वैसे?
अरे भाई दिखाना इसलिए चाहिए, अब वो एआईएस में आता है आजकल, वो एआईएस
आपके पास जब शॉर्टेड रास्ता है,
जितना रियल इनकम उतना ही दिखाना चाहिए ना।
आपको आपके पास में नोटिस आता है ना?
रहते हो भाई, बैंक ने मिस्टेक की है, मैंने मिस्टेक की है,
नहीं बस सर बराबर है, बट आपको आपका जो इनकम है वही दिखाना चाहिए ना। आपको
मेरे आदमी वो सोचता है बाद में इसको क्या है कि
आपकी तो बोलते हैं भाई साहब, वो मैं आप शॉर्टकट करने को गए ना, वो अभी थोड़ा लॉन्ग कट किया।
चलो another question.
हाँ जी,
Sir,
Yes, sir.
one of my client placed a fixed deposit on a auto renewal in the private bank.
right.
That is 6 to 7 or 8 years long. So 3 साल के बाद उन्होंने रिन्यू कर दिया at the old rate. Okay. New rate जो था applicable, they conveniently ignored. But client is also conveniently not aware. तो चलते रहा. After 8 years we realized that this type of mischief is going on in the private bank. And another thing, when the last we were the auditor for the PNB bank, RO or HO, they are requesting the branch is whether auditor is having adequate knowledge or not. So they are taking the feedback. This is for the information of the large.
No, that every bank is taking the feedback, and they are supposed to go back to the real bank.
Yes.
Okay, so while every bank, I do not know whether all of us are aware, every bank is supposed to revert back to the RBI,
Yes.
not only for the branch auditor, but central auditor also.
Yeah, no, just for the awareness of the.
हाँ. So they are supposed to be, so मैं एक एग्जाम्पल बताता हूँ, हमारा तो ऐसा प्रॉब्लम है ना सर, आप क्या बोलेंगे, करे तो भी मरे, नहीं करे तो भी मरे।
Yes, yes.
आपका जो है, if you want to follow the regulation, तो क्या होगा, ब्रांच मैनेजर आपके अगेंस्ट में रिपोर्ट देने वाला है कि ऑडिटर जो है इसको कुछ समझता नहीं है, वो काम करता है, ये है वो है, सब कुछ लिखने वाला है। ठीक है, वो लिखने वाला ही है।
And once
ठीक
you
है,
send the.
आप नहीं करो तो आपको उधर आपका रेगुलेटर नहीं छोड़ेगा, करोगे तो ये भाई साहब जो है ऊपर तक, और वो रिपोर्ट जो है आपकी रिजर्व बैंक तक जाती है। ठीक
Once
है,
you send the balance sheet, the relation is over.
सॉरी,
Once you send the balance sheet, next day will not allow you to sit in front of.
सवाल ही नहीं है सर, आप गलतफहमी में है। ये जो है, मैंने पहले ही कहा, आपका ट्रांजैक्शनल रिलेशनशिप है,
बस that's all.
वो 7 दिन का है, 10 दिन का है, 15 दिन का है, जिस दिन साइन कर दिया ना, दूसरे दिन की बात कर रहे हो, शाम को आप उनको फोन करो, कौन आप?
नहीं नहीं, बैठने के लिए नहीं बोलेगा आपको।
हाँ, सवाल ही नहीं है सर, गलतफहमी नहीं रखनी चाहिए। बिकॉज़ उसका काम हो गया, दैट्स एन एंड ऑफ इट, उसको मालूम है नेक्स्ट ईयर तो आप आने वाले नहीं हो। फिर पिछले साल कोई और था, इस साल कोई और है, अगले साल कोई और होगा, उसको क्यों रिलेशनशिप रखना है?
So in this way, bank का कोई भी काम करेंगे, not only bank audit, वो इस और के गले में responsibility डालने का काम है, पैसा कुछ ज्यादा मिलने वाला नहीं है, सिर्फ responsibility मिलने वाली है। Even banks are using that, even RBI is using that.
वही तो बोल रहे हैं, वही तो बोल रहे हैं।
वही बोल रहे हैं सर, मैं भी तो वही बोल रहा हूँ ना सर, कि आपके गले में सारे सब लोग घंटी बांध रहे हैं, फाइनली इट इज वी हु आर रिस्पांसिबल। मैं भी वही कह रहा हूँ शुरू से कि व्हाइल आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू स्केयर यू, बट दिस इज व्हाट वी नो वी आर डूइंग इट, एंड वी शुड बी माइंडफुल ऑफ दैट कि मैं, हमारा जो है फर्स्ट रिस्पांसिबिलिटी इज टू सेफगार्ड आवर ओन इंटरेस्ट, टू सी वी फॉलो द व्हाटएवर स्टैंडर्ड्स व्हिच हैज बीन लेड डाउन बाय द आईसीए, देयर वी शुड नॉट बी फाउंड वांटिंग। बाकी उसको कंप्लेन करना करने दो।
That's what I said.
I think we can.
Yeah.
We can close the session.
एक लकी ड्रॉ।
Before we propose the bonus rights, there's a one lucky draw that needs to be taken out. Sir, आपके पास.
क्या चीज?
Sir, आपके पास
मेंबर के लिए।
members के लिए रहता है.
सर 5 6 निकालने पड़ते
आगे लगा
क्यों चले गए उसके?
कहीं तो निकलते हैं।
अनिल को क्या कोठा क्या है?
Anil Kothari, commission number 46771.
4617
4677.
77 RS Iyer.
RS Iyer 043946.
वो भी नहीं
नहीं
ऑडिट करने
Audit करने का।
अभी तो रोड भी नहीं हुआ सर नरेश वो भी गए आज उनको बताता हूँ
वो शेयर बाजार वाले
हाँ
मैं उनको जानेंगे तो क्यों निकालती क्यों है पहले लॉट में सोचे थे
संजू लालवानी
संजू लालवानी।
और क्या
जो है उनका चेक लगा के देते
41795
41795। नाम भी लिख दे, आपको पता नहीं आएगा।
सुमेता किरण 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 उन्होंने अपना मोबाइल नंबर लिखा है मेंबरशिप
आए तो फोन कर दो।
आए तो फोन कर
पहुंचा प्रीति ओझा
मिल गई मैडम उत्तर चलिए हाँ ऐसा सब आ जाएंगे आ जाओ तुम अच्छा आपको लाइन नहीं है जा जाओ
असर आ गया है।
आप आ जाइए मेंबर पर्सन है मेंबर पर्सन हाँ आप जैसा बोलेंगे
सभी के लिए मेंबर्स पर
हाँ
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, and Anjali for presenting all of the thanks to our place leader.
गुड आफ्टरनून फ्रेंड। जिस ढंग से संजय जी ने आज बैंक ब्रांच ऑडिट का डिस्कशन किया और डिस्क्राइब किया है और जितनी ड्यूटी रिस्क एंड रिवार्ड बताए हैं तो अभी तो सबको मालूम हो ऐसे है ही, लेकिन इन्होंने एक एक चीज स्पेसिफाई करके किस किस समय पर हमारी क्या क्या ड्यूटी है, किसको देखना है, आरबीआई का सर्कुलर देखना है, अपने को सिस्टम ऑडिट देखनी है, नफारा को देखना है, ब्रांच की जो केवाईसी करनी है, एमआईएस देखनी है, कस्टम कोड प्रैक्टिस भी देखना है और साथ में 193 ना 196 अपने को उनके प्रोसीजर पूरे करने हैं। तो टेक केयर और इन सब के लिए मैं जो चाहूंगा कि एक जो संजय जी चौखानी के लिए जोरदार तालियां हो जाए। थैंक यू खेमानी जी, सॉरी खेमानी जी के लिए, और हमारे दर्शकों को भी, हमारे मेंबरों को भी मेनी मेनी थैंक्स जो शांतिपूर्वक और ध्यानपूर्वक सुन रहे हैं। होटल मैनेजमेंट को भी थैंक यू, साथ में नवनाथ को और मेनी 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 थैंक्स टू आवर गवर्नर, आवर कन्वेनर, सॉरी आगे हो सकता है गवर्नर बने तो, लेकिन अभी कन्वेनर को जो है बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और बधाई कि इन्होंने एक साल जो पूरा इतने अच्छे ढंग से और काफी मैनेज करते हुए सब काम किया। साथ में श्री महेश जी भगेरिया को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जो इन्होंने और सारी टीम ने मुझे एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी है इस पोस्ट के लिए, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।